he tells them that every useless word is going to have to be accounted for. And he says, bless, that means wish well, and do not curse. Because what you utter, believing what you're saying, is going to happen. And we should not use the power of speech to hurt anyone, particularly spiritually. Curses happen, and many people are suffering all sorts of things. They don't know how come. There doesn't seem to be any physical, there doesn't seem to be any sickness. They don't know why they got what they call bad luck. And they don't realize that perhaps at some point they were cursed by someone. And the trouble is that we can also curse ourselves, and our word takes effect. And so we have to be very careful, because the Lord says we're going to be responsible for every word that we speak. And he wants us always to bless, always to bring forth words that will bring comfort and healing and blessing. There's so much that we could say, because our exercise of trust has so much to do with the main thing that our existence centers on, and that is relationships. Our union with God and our union with one another. As I say, the topic is so deep, we could be here for months and never exhaust it. But God is so kind. He has sent his word of mercy through St. Faustina. The church finally accepted that word as believable and has proven it by canonizing her, by entering her into the list of saints. She is what St. Thomas and St. Augustine would call a prophet, one who speaks in the name of God, the things of God. And for prophecy to be truly of God, it cannot be based only on natural hearsay. There has to be, in that prophecy, the action of God's grace. St. Augustine and St. Thomas point out that for prophecy to be true, nature is insufficient, grace is indispensable. And therefore, even though it is not part of the revelation that we are bound to hold if we are to belong to God, nonetheless, it is not just mere historical faith from someone that we could trust, but it has an added supernatural dimension, and therefore it is something that we cannot ignore. Because as St. Augustine and St. Thomas point out, the church can never lack prophets. And they're talking about prophets of the New Testament. And who are these? Those who receive revelations that we call private revelations. But once they are scrutinized and approved by the church, they are to be acted upon. And as far as we know, any such messages that came to the church in all its history and approved and recognized by the church as agreeing with the revealed word of God, the people in the church responsible for it performed it, did it. And so this is particularly true of the Lord's request that there be instituted in the church the Feast of Corpus Christi in honor of the Eucharist, the Feast of the Sacred Heart, the Feast of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, many other things that the Lord asked for, and now finally the Feast of the Divine Mercy,